Have you ever heard of Vasili Komaroff, the man known as the Wolf of Moscow? If not, let's delve into the enigma that was this man. A figure shrouded in both mystery and fear, Vasili Komaroff is a name that has echoed through the annals of history, chilling the spines of those who dare to remember. Born into a world that was rapidly changing, Komaroff navigated the tumultuous era of the early 1920s in the heart of Moscow. He was a horse trader by profession, a seemingly ordinary citizen who blended into the crowd. His days were spent bargaining for the best horses, and his nights were spent at home with his beloved family. To the outside world, Komaroff was just another face in the bustling city of Moscow, another cog in the wheel of the bustling Soviet economy. Yet, beneath this facade of normality, a storm was brewing, a storm that would soon reveal the horrifying truth about this seemingly ordinary man. For Komaroff was not just a horse trader, he was a predator, a wolf in sheep's clothing, lurking in the shadows of society. His unsuspecting victims, drawn in by his charm and his seemingly harmless profession, would soon find themselves ensnared in his deadly trap. As the days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months, the city of Moscow began to feel an undercurrent of fear. People began disappearing without a trace, their last known location often traced back to a deal with a certain horse trader. Suspicion began to grow, whispers began to circulate, but no one could have imagined the horrifying truth that was about to come to light. Komaroff, the unassuming horse trader, was not just a man. He was a monster, a beast that preyed upon the innocent. His crimes, so heinous and brutal, would shock the entire nation, forever tainting the name of Vasili Komaroff. Who would have thought that this unassuming man held a dark secret that would shock the entire nation? As we peel back the layers of this mysterious figure, we find a chilling tale of deceit, fear, and horror. The Wolf of Moscow, indeed. Behind the facade of a simple horse trader, Komaroff was leading a double life. Vasili Komaroff, a name now synonymous with terror, was once merely a man of the people. Amidst the bustling markets of early 20th century Moscow, Komaroff was just another face in the crowd, a simple horse trader haggling his wares. He was a hard-working man, his hands rough with labor, his voice gruff from hours spent bartering. His days were filled with the mundane tasks of everyday life, feeding the horses, negotiating prices, and counting his earnings. Yet this was just a small part of who Komaroff was. Behind this facade of normalcy, a much darker character lurked. While his days were spent in the crowded markets, his nights were spent in the eerie silence of his secluded home. Komaroff was a family man too. He had a wife who loved him and children who admired him. His family saw him as a provider, a protector, a loving father. They were oblivious to the sinister aura that surrounded him, to the dreadful secrets that he harbored. But as the sun set and the clamor of the marketplace faded, Komaroff's true nature would emerge. Beneath the hardened exterior of a horse trader, a cold-blooded killer was lurking. His unsuspecting victims were lured into a trap, their trust in the seemingly harmless man their undoing. The first hint of his monstrous acts came with the grim discovery of bodies. These were not just any bodies, they bore the chilling mark of Komaroff's brutal handiwork. This was the beginning of a series of crimes that would send shockwaves through the city, a terrifying revelation of the man behind the mask. The ordinary horse trader was slowly revealing his true, terrifying identity. As the bodies piled up, terror gripped the city of Moscow. The city found itself in the throes of a reign of terror, orchestrated by a man who was as elusive as he was brutal, Vasili Komaroff. The sheer savagery of Komaroff's crimes was enough to send shivers down the spine of even the most hardened Muscovite. He was a horse trader by day, but as darkness fell, he transformed into a predator. His method was as simple as it was chilling. He lured unsuspecting victims under the pretext of conducting business, only for them to meet their untimely demise at his hands. Each murder was marked by a brutality that was unheard of at the time. The victims were bludgeoned, their bodies disposed of with an indifference that spoke volumes of the man behind these heinous crimes. But what was even more terrifying was the frequency of these murders. It was as if the city was caught in an unending nightmare, with every dawn bringing news of another life lost. As the death toll rose, so did the fear that permeated through the city. The streets that once bustled with life now lay silent. the air heavy with fear. Every stranger was viewed with suspicion, every knock at the door met with trepidation. The police were left scrambling, trying to find a murderer who seemed to vanish into thin air after each crime. With every passing day, the pressure mounted. The public's fear turned into panic. Their trust in the law enforcement waned. The city was on the edge, its people desperate for a respite from this relentless terror. But the Wolf of Moscow, as Komaroff came to be known, showed no signs of stopping. His reign of terror continued unabated, each crime more audacious than the last. With each passing day, the dread grew. Who would be the wolf's next prey? The wolf's reign of terror ended when the law finally caught up with him. Vasili Komaroff, the notorious Shabolovka wolf, had been a spectre of fear, his gruesome deeds casting a long, terrifying shadow over Moscow. But even the darkest shadows must eventually face the dawn. The breakthrough in the investigation came when a suspicious horse trader, a man who had been selling horse flesh at an alarmingly high frequency, drew the attention of a diligent police officer. The officer, noting the trader's striking resemblance to the rough sketches of the elusive wolf, decided to delve deeper. The trader's residence was put under surveillance, and soon enough, the pieces began to fall into place. A search of the property unearthed a grisly sight. Multiple bodies were discovered, each bearing the distinct signature of the wolf's brutal handiwork. With this overwhelming evidence, Komaroff was promptly arrested. The public's reaction was a mix of relief and disbelief. Relief for the end of a reign of terror that had held the city in its icy grip. Disbelief at the revelation that the monster they had feared was nothing more than a horse trader. The trial that followed was a spectacle in itself, attracting a widespread audience. The courtroom was packed to the rafters, with people straining to catch a glimpse of the man who had become a living nightmare. The evidence was damning, and the defense was weak. The verdict was swift and unanimous. Vasili Komaroff was found guilty on all counts. Yet even as the gavel fell and the sentence was pronounced, a chilling silence hung in the courtroom. It was as if the spectre of the wolf still lurked in the shadows, a haunting reminder of the horror he had unleashed. The wolf was finally in the cage, but the horror of his deeds lingered. Komaroff's reign of terror left a lasting impact on the city of Moscow and the world. This is not just a statement of fact, but a testament to the profound influence of one man's heinous deeds. The aftermath of Vasili Komaroff's crimes rippled through society, causing a dramatic shift in public perception and the implementation of enhanced security measures. In the wake of Komaroff's macabre acts, a sense of fear and mistrust hung heavy over Moscow. The idea that such a seemingly ordinary man could commit such atrocities shattered the illusion of safety within the community. This led to a surge in public demand for improved safety measures, resulting in the establishment of more stringent laws and increased police vigilance. Komaroff's case also had a profound impact on the field of criminology. His ability to evade capture for so long, despite the sheer number of his victims, sparked a wave of research into criminal profiling. Criminologists all over the world began to delve deeper into the minds of serial killers, seeking to understand what drove them and how they could be stopped. This marked a significant turning point in the field, setting the stage for modern profiling techniques used today. Moreover, the chilling tale of the Wolf of Moscow seeped into popular media, influencing the portrayal of serial killers in books, films, and television series. The trope of the seemingly ordinary man with a dark secret became a common theme, adding a layer of psychological horror to the genre. Komaroff's story serves as a chilling reminder of the twisted minds that can hide behind the most unassuming of exteriors. In conclusion, the legacy of Vasili Komaroff extends far beyond his gruesome deeds. His story has left an indelible mark on society, the field of criminology, and popular media. Vasili Komaroff, the Wolf of Moscow, remains a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the most ordinary of facades,